Although I feel like they made the most of those 12 minutes because I went from believing like 100%, that Cedric was going to win this match to Ali actually changing my mind kind of halfway through. I felt like he was in with a good chance of winning it. I think they made the right decision in the end by giving it to Cedric. I think he can carry that belt well now. But yeah, I think I quite enjoyed the match, but I just wish it was a little bit more time left in that.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. So for what it was, I give this 3.5 stars. I think it wasn't. I think for what they had and being a kickoff show, I think they done as good as they could. So 3.5 for me. For you, Matt?
Yeah, 3 from me. Kind of just wish there was a bit more time. Then it would have probably had a better rating than that.
Cool. And yeah, so it got squashed right in the middle of both battle royals, which I kind of. I was fearing that would be the case. Then we got the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, which now, man, you chuck all the girls in the middle, and then what do we have? We have some entrances of like the more established people coming out, like Bayley and Sasha Banks and the rest of it. So that was very odd, the way they went around that. And yeah, I mean, again, this... I felt this was better than the men's battle royal. I thought this was better than the Andre the Giant one, but again, it was what it was. It was like it was very tough to get into. I know they've done the whole thing with like where Bayley, eliminated Sasha at the end. But to me, like I said in the preview, I just think doing this sort of thing on the kickoff, like. Really, is it that much of a big deal? Is it really going to have a ripple effect and transcend the world over on if something happens on a kickoff? But I really doubt it. So, yeah, I mean, odd choice of winner in my opinion. But nothing against Naomi. She's a great competitor. Definitely didn't see it coming. If I'm honest, definitely didn't have her anywhere near the forefront of the favourites. I think you went with Becky Lynch and I went with Ruby Wright. So. Completely off the radar for me, and the fact that it wasn't Bayley and Sasha, which wasn't a bad thing, but again, completely out of nowhere. Does this help her, Naomi? Maybe it will help her more than some of the others. But for you, Matt, what did you make of this and take away from it and some of the performances in the match?
Well, it was better than the men's, but they didn't have to try too hard to make that happen. But yeah, I was quite impressed. They actually had a decent amount of NXT women put up there on display, and particularly I was impressed with Bianca Belair, because she got her moment. Was it a shooting star at the top that she did? Yeah. And that was a good moment for her. And I think that girl's good. She can pretty much do anything in that ring. So probably good things for her in the future. But yeah, for the rest of them as well, they all put in a decent showing. I don't think anyone was made to look particularly stupid in it. Yeah. Which is another better sight than it was for the men's. But like you said, the winner, was kind of out of nowhere, out of the blue there with that one. I didn't see that coming. I kind of feel like if they went down that route and they had Sasha eliminated the way that she did by Bayley, I kind of felt that Bayley should actually reap the rewards of that. It builds that storyline better. The Shield tags also to get her names in the book, but it didn't actually happen that way. It just seemed a bit bizarre. Yeah.
So Naomi winning the match in match at 9 minutes 30 seconds. So it was a bit shorter than the men's, but I still think it had just better spots in it. I think everyone was given a fair share. I'm going to give this just a basic 3 in the middle. I don't think it was terrible. Again, it is pre-show, so I do give a little bit more leniency to the kickoff ones because I know that time is a factor because they are literally... You know what I really disliked about the kickoff matches this year, though, especially, Matt, was the fact that they kept going to like their own adverts. Not even proper commercials, but like promo commercials. I was like, Jesus Christ, this just goes to show you where this is at. I mean, they done it a few times in... I think even in the Cruiserweight match they tried to do it as well. I don't know if they cut away for a little while, but I was like, what the heck? And it was just like a promo, and I was like, can't we just do this after? You know what I mean? Like, just get the match done with, and then we'll get to these. But yeah, I really dislike the fact that they do that in people's matches. I'm like, holy crap. Like, that's not good. And they done it in the the battle royals as well, and I was just like, it's just not a good thing. You know that when that's going on, the live audience probably aren't seeing too many eliminations until the referee signals, "Yep, we're back on again." Now you can go to it and eliminate people. So really takes you out of the moment, I think, if you're there live, and I just don't enjoy that. I think it really takes away from the match in general. So Naomi winning in any case. Matt, what about for you, star wise? What was that?
Yeah, you called it right there, 3 stars. I mean, you can't really say it was one of the most amazing things you've seen, but they all did a decent job of making it an enjoyable sort of warm-up match.
Yeah, I feel like it's just the Battle Royals are going to become something where you can just something for people to be doing on the kickoff, like rather than doing nothing. But it is a bit of a waste of time, I think. If that's what it's going to be, like the Andre is just going to be on the pre-shows all the time. Like, I mean, just don't bother doing it, really, if you haven't, if you're not going to take that serious. But people, of course, are all emailing in about Alicia Fox, the whole incident that happened the early hours of yesterday morning, there's the video flying around where she's arguing with Ronda Rousey's husband, Travis Browning, and really don't know too much about that. I mean, listen, there's a video there, but I mean, how much can you tell from a video? Like, it was in mid-flow. Obviously, WWE have taken the stance of not having her on. That's where they stand with it. So, there would have been more people around, more witnesses and stuff that would have seen. But, a little bit of a shame for her, I guess. A bit of a knockdown for her at the time, I'm guessing, on that one. Lots of crazy incidents over this weekend. In fact, don't know if you heard as well at one of the conventions we had the British Bulldog son Harry Smith had an incident with Jake Roberts through a cup of hot coffee over Jake Roberts in basically something that Jake Roberts had said about his dad, and Jake Roberts tried to sort of make a peace with him, but he wasn't having any of it, and got hot coffee thrown over him. Apparently he ended up in the hospital. We also had this incident with Alberto Del Rio where he just no-showed because apparently he was partying too hard. And the latest is from that he's been, as Matt Hardy would say, deleted from TNA. Don't really know how much of a big deal that is really in the big scheme of things. But yeah, quite a crazy weekend of madness, I guess, from just some of the stuff that was going on around that time. That leads us into. I do want to say one quick thing actually, Matt, before we move on to the main card. Obviously, we had Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Beth Phoenix was out there for the female one and whatnot. But I mean, having Jim Ross there, Matt, I mean, I kind of felt like we've got to say goodbye to him now. Like, I kind of felt like him and Jerry really got the bad end of this whole thing. Like, man, those matches weren't exactly terrific things to call, were they? Battle Royals, like, man, that's just not great. Feel for those guys. I think if you're going to have a legend like Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, let them call one big match on the night like he did a couple of years ago. I think that's what they should be there for. I don't think they should be there to do pre-show matches. I'm like, this seems a little bit disrespectful in my eyes. I think there's so much more you could have done with them. Have them, just have them in the main event. Have a little bit of a different perspective of it, instead of the same old voices that we've been hearing for the same weeks. Have them in maybe the Ronda match, like just a feature match or something. But yeah, pre-show matches, I'm like, nah, Jim Ross and that can do better than that. So yeah, it wasn't an amazing thing. So that then led us into the WrestleMania 34, and we get of course, we get the traditional anthems going off, sung very beautifully. I'm sure if you're into that kind of thing. For me, that was time to make a quick coffee, and I knew I was going to need it because it was going to be a long one after the 2 hours worth of pre-show. That's for sure. Man, 2 hours just for a pre-show even sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But that's where we are these days with this. I'm sure soon it's going to be even worse. It'll be like 3 hours or something, like a whole pay-per-view. What a normal pay-per-view is for a pre-show at some point. Won't be long till they do that. We got a nice little opening package. Of course, it's all the whole New Orleans theme, and what's funny is everyone's partying. I was thinking, man, they should have. It would be great if Del Rio's part was in that, just drinking it up somewhere in one of the bars at the end. Like, just turns around to the camera with a drink in his hand. Yeah, that's it. But no, just my wacky sense of humour there, I'm sure, trying to come up with something. But yeah, it was a nice little promo, and then of course WrestleMania opens up. A mass of people in there, is just like it was 4 years ago, really. Yeah, it looked. I mean, the entrance was better this year. I mean, it wasn't as flipping long as it was last year. Thank God, that ramp. That was the only nightmare from last year, I thought, for me. It just took so long for each person. Like, the music was going on twice. So I was glad they cleared that up. And, they must spend quite a bit on the actual, stuff that goes on there, Matt. I mean, like, I'm guessing that's where all their resources go to now, is mainly the WrestleMania. But, I guess we're so used to it now, we don't really think much of it, because if you look back at the last maybe 6-7 WrestleManias, the production value is quite amazing. I mean, even Dana White said that he could never imagine UFC even getting like as crazy stuff that WWE have got going on with their lighting, and even the ramps goes in different colours, and it is just so complex. But we kind of take it for granted. What did you make of the setup? Because I get emails, and I know last year, because I didn't mention this, and I went back on last year's, and people kept saying, like, you didn't mention about the entranceway. So I'm going to speak about it, because apparently people find it fascinating. Of course, last year they had the big, what was it, like the ride thing in the background, didn't they? Yeah, this year, I mean, they just went with the whole theme of New Orleans, I thought, with the different variety of colours and trying to make it look like that. So, for you, Matt, did you prefer the setup compared to last year's? Obviously, I know you would with the ramp, but the other stuff going on?
I know there's like a lot of detail that goes into this, but it's very, it looks quite simplistic, and I liked this set. It's probably one of my favourite sets they've had for a long time now. Mm-hmm. The mask itself, you can do quite a lot with that.
Yeah.
It was changing all the time, and we'll probably get to this later, but during the Charlotte match, it looked like it was almost tailor-made for her.
It was.
That appeared across it.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, absolutely amazing, some of the stuff they do. I mean, it's just incredible compared to where we've come from, especially when you go back. I mean, even looking at it from our retrospective one that we've done on 19, like, you think 19, in my head, because of my age, I kind of see it as kind of one of the more newer ones, but then you do see a big gap now between that compared to where we are now, and absolutely amazing stuff. So yeah, I thought the set was good, and I thought the whole lighting structure. They did use. Everyone was actually emailing. They were like, "Can fans see it, or can we just see it?" The graphics that kept coming up in some of the people's entrances, Matt. Like, yeah, I mean, I wasn't overly fan of that, but I get where they were trying to go from, but I don't know if they were overplaying that. But that was something they added this year, wasn't it? That I was thinking to myself, oh my god, please don't do what they done in last year in the Bray Wyatt match. Don't do all that stuff again. We did get a little bit of that, but we'll talk about that later on. So let's start then the opening match. I got to say, I didn't see this one being the opening match, but I was really glad after that it was, because I thought it was really, really good for a starter match. The WWE Intercontinental Championship match. The defending Miz, who is, I mean, I might think now he is betraying a babyface now, Matt, because he sent both his boys back. He wanted to do it alone, and then he was chanting all the way, "I'm going to do this the right way, just the three of us." I'm like, oh man. So making him a dad has changed this man, hasn't it? Who'd ever know?
It's a good direction change for him, I think, because he was getting that reaction from the fans anyway, from all the hard work that he's put in, and they know just how important he is to the company and what kind of company guy he is, and just how much he gives back to the fans. So, I think it's good that he's getting that recognition, and if he's going to be that liked by the fans, might as well go with it. Yeah,
JJ maybe had an impression on him. I felt like that was his turn in that interview. With him, just the way he was handling the questions, he just wanted to be liked by him. But it was that was cool. Seth Rollins coming out with the. I mean, I don't know what he was going for, but it looked Game of Thrones to me. It looked like the Ice King to me. It was like, that's what I kind of saw. So that was interesting. I quite liked it. Whole blue eyes things looked pretty cool. And the one that you'd think should have all the gimmick stuff was Finn Balor. He actually had the most less of the two. And of course they gave him now I don't know if we touched on this on the podcast, but we knew they were going to go in this direction. I'm sure he was going to be asked